Friends, if I want to watch super hit movie Cat Lake in English, then you must like this video. If you are visiting our channel for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Friends, in today's video, the movie we're going to talk about is called Cat Lake. We will talk about what this movie is and where you can watch it. All the interesting about this movie in today's video. I am going to tell you. I am also going to give you all the information on which I request you friends to watch this video till the ends. So let's start the video. Caddo Lake is an American thriller film written and directed by Celine Heldon Logan George. It stars Dylan O'Brien and Eliza Scanlen. M. Night Shyamalan serves as a producer for his Blinding Edge Pictures company. The film was released on Max on October 10, 2024. Plot. The story centers on Ellie, a teenager who constantly fights with her mother and has left home to stay at a friend's, and a 20-something man named Paris who was in the car with his mother when she drove off a bridge. She died, but he escaped the car. Ellie, her mother, stepfather, and stepsister live near Caddo Lake, a mysterious body of water in Louisiana, Texas. Ellie's 8-year-old stepsister, Anna, vanishes one night while near the lake. The family and community begin searching for her. Ellie goes searching for Anna on a portion of the lake where the water has receded and she can walk on the now dry lake bed. When returning to land and going back to her mother's home, she discovers she is now 3 days in the past. In a panic, she returns to the lake and finds Anna, but this is 1 month in the past, when Anna had run off before. It turns out that Caddo Lake has a time displacement phenomenon that activates when water levels drop. Ellie goes back to the lake again in hope of finding Anna a second time. Meanwhile, Paris is attempting to find out what caused his mother to have a seizure and drive off the bridge. Paris works dredging the lake, and one day he has an odd experience where he sees footprints on the dry part of the lake, and he loses his hearing. When he returns to his boat, he finds a necklace stuck in the motor. It is the necklace his mother owned. Paris's former girlfriend returns and they rekindle their relationship, but she doubts his story about there being a mystery of the lake. The stories converge when Paris returns to the lake and goes through portals that take him to 1952. There he finds a wounded Anna and gets her help before attempting to get back to his own time, 2003. Instead, he ends up in 2022, Ellie's time. Meanwhile, Ellie travels to 2005, and when she is in a grocery store parking lot, she sees a necklace hanging on a car mirror that matches her own mother's necklace. It was a necklace that Anna was wearing when she went missing. She breaks into the car to get the necklace, and the car's owner arrives and attacks her, trying to get the necklace back. Ellie asks where the necklace came from, and the woman says it belonged to her missing boyfriend's mother, Anna Lang. Ellie realizes the woman she is talking to is her own mother, Celeste, and the baby Celeste is holding is herself. Ellie runs off and finds an internet cafe. By looking up Anna Lang and looking at old photos, she realizes that her stepsister Anna is actually her grandmother. She goes back to the lake to return home. Meanwhile, in 2022, Paris is found in Ellie's boat, which she had tied up before traveling to the past. He is arrested as a suspect in Anna's disappearance. He sees a news report with a photo of Anna and realizes the girl he saved in the past was his own mother. He escapes from the police, but drowns while trying to return to Portal Home. Ellie returns to 2022 and realizes the stepfather she has been fighting with is actually her great-grandfather. She returns home to find her mother in shock, watching a news report about Paris's escape and death. There is a photo of Paris, and the authorities are asking for help identifying him. Ellie shows her Anna's school picture from 1952 and embraces her mom, explaining that neither Anna nor Paris meant to leave them. Cast Dylan O'Brien as Paris, Eliza Scanlen as Ellie, Caroline Falk as Anna Lauren Ambrose as Celeste, Eric Lang as Daniel Sam Hennings, as Ben Diana Hopper, as C. David Maldonado, as Sheriff Mark Taylor. Production. Caddo Lake is a thriller film written and directed by filmmaking duo Celine Held and Logan George. In August 2021, Dylan O'Brien and Eliza Scanlen were in talks to star in the film, then titled Vanishings, and a casting call was released, revealing M. Night Shyamalan would produce under his production company, Blinding Edge Pictures. By October 2021, O'Brien and Scanlen were set to star in the film, which had been retitled to The Vanishings at Caddo Lake, and Lauren Ambrose, Eric Lang, Sam Hennings, and Diana Hopper had joined the cast, with filming beginning on October 4th in Shreveport, Louisiana. Held and George sought 1998 to 2004 period-specific vehicles from locals in order to produce an authentic feel to the story's community. Filming wrapped on November 18, 2021. By May 2023, the title was shortened to Caddo Lake. Someone says to Paris Long, one of the dual protagonists of Max's original film Caddo Lake, "If you can't explain yourself, you're not going anywhere." I'm not sure I could fully explain this movie, so I might be in trouble. However, that's not always the issue the internet plot hole checkers and purists would have you believe. Sometimes it's even preferable if a film doesn't connect all of its dots, working more in an emotional register than a practical one, trusting viewers to meet the movie halfway. Some people are going to freak out over the major twist of Caddo Lake that I can't even write about by request of the network. But I found it refreshing to see a movie that feels like a traditional streaming thriller, but reveals itself to be something very different. It also helps to have a pair of leads who commit to the immediacy of their characters, never winking at the camera like lesser performers would with a script that's this fundamentally insane. They could have called it Cuckoo Lake. That's not a real place like Caddo Lake, which really looks more like a collection of swamp and woods on the border between Texas and Louisiana. Writing-directing duo Logan George and Celine Held, who worked on 3 episodes of Servant, which likely led to M. Night Shyamalan producing this flick, were reportedly inspired by the real Caddo Lake, a place that has a dangerous energy that ties it back through generations of locals. They have imagined a story of 3 lost people in this deadly place that are tied in ways they could never imagine. And again, I can't spoil. Paris, Dylan O'Brien, who can also be seen doing an ace Dan Aykroyd impression in Saturday Night, is haunted by the death of his mother, who had some sort of seizure while driving Paris, plunging them off a bridge. His survivor's guilt haunts his body language, conveyed well by O'Brien as a man who is trying to figure out exactly what happened to his mom, even going as far as confronting her doctor in a parking lot to get answers. But he also suspects maybe there's more to the event, something darker under the surface of Caddo Lake. We also meet Ellie, Eliza Scanlen, so good in Sharp Objects, who longs for an absent father she's never known and clashes with her mother, played by Lauren Ambrose, another tie to the underrated Servant. Her stepfather Daniel, Eric Lang, tries to mend clearly broken bridges, but Ellie is portrayed as a loner, someone whose only friend seems to be her 8-year-old stepsister Anna, Caroline Falk. After a family fight, Ellie races off into the lake and Anna follows, only to completely disappear off the face of the earth. Her disappearance will tie Ellie's arc to Paris in a way that you couldn't possibly predict if I gave you 100 chances. One of the reasons for that is that Caddo Lake is a relatively straightforward blue-collar drama for quite some time. In fact, Shyamalan's name as a producer, and how genre-dominated this season is for streamers this time of year, is the main foreshadowing that something is going to go sideways. This doesn't just go sideways. It goes in several directions at once, often in ways that are nearly impossible to follow, but it really comes down to how much you enjoy the challenge. This viewer who sees way too many movies that telegraph their obvious plot twists from the first few minutes admires the narrative gamesmanship of Caddo Lake, even if I'm pretty sure I couldn't explain it without a pen and paper to chart it out. Again, it helps greatly to have a cast who plays urgency instead of plot twists, and O'Brien and Scanlen do precisely that, making these lost souls feel emotionally resonant, even amid the relatively ridiculous machinations of how this story twists on itself. It's too bad that the climax relies on Ellie doing a great deal of Googling to do the movie's best to explain how everything ties together, but it's forgivable for a flick that is best experienced cold. Seeing this family saga tie itself in knots in a way that could only happen in those seemingly unstable places in the world, like Caddo Lake. Despite the mixed directorial career he's had over the decades, I've always considered myself a fan of M. Night Shyamalan. Some of my favorite movies have been created by the filmmaker, such as 2002's Signs, While I've also enjoyed a number of his projects, the majority of moviegoers haven't. Lady in the Water, Glass, Knock at the Cabin. The latest project he's attached to is Caddo Lake, a Max original that serves as his third producer credit for a movie he did not direct. Regardless, his name being attached was an anticipatory moment leading up to watching the movie. Caddo Lake is written and directed by Celine Held and Logan George, best known for their acclaimed drama Topside. The film follows two characters, Paris, Dylan O'Brien, a young man who's sequestered himself from society following a car accident that resulted in the death of his mother, living next to Caddo Lake in Louisiana, and Ellie, Eliza Scanlen, a rebellious, troubled young girl seeking to learn more about her past. While the pair's stories seem unrelated at first, the disappearance of Ellie's stepsister Anna, Caroline Falk, results in their lives converging around her disappearance and the lake's mysteries. Like many other movies involving Shyamalan, Caddo Lake's mystery offers a winding road for Paris and Ellie to investigate, as both seek particular truths surrounding the titular location. O'Brien and Scanlen's performances stand out, everything from their facial expressions to the way they deliver dialogue, showing the pain and fear both feel from their situations. Lauren Ambos is also great as Celeste, the Yellow Jackets alum portraying a panicked mother looking for her lost daughter with an expert level of intensity. Eric Lange's performance as Ellie's stepfather, Daniel, also helped bolster her character with their complex family dynamic. Unfortunately, these strong performances are paired with shoddy character writing, which never makes Paris and Ellie intriguing beyond their status as the protagonists. Paris in particular was underutilized, with the film's beginning offering a complexity through the loss of his mother that grew muted as the film progressed. While Ellie often feels like the true main character, since it's her stepsister that disappeared, her characterization isn't as gripping as it could be, given the layers of complexity hinted at throughout the movie. Because Caddo Lake is a mystery movie, the core focus of the film is on what happened to Anna and why she vanished. But without interesting characters to carry the story forward, the intriguing elements of their, admittedly creative, investigation fall flat. In the case of Paris, his involvement in the story doesn't start to feel important until close to halfway through. The film needed better moments telegraphing reasons for us to care about its characters and what motivates them to make their decisions later in the story. At a particular point, Caddo Lake pulls back the curtain to reveal the meat of the mystery, offering a new perspective on Anna's disappearance. However, much like The Watcher's big twist, another Shyamalan-produced project this year, the mystery feels less effective from that point on in the story. This leads to a series of events that are more like bullet points than moments driving the story or characters forward, dulling some of the more positive elements of the movie's first half. This includes some confusing character decisions that felt like they existed simply to explain the details of the mystery to us. Except for one ridiculous decision made by Paris that was so illogical, it seemed to happen because there was no other way to convincingly tread down the story's intended path thereafter. The movie stops being fully developed by this point, instead having the mystery act as a vehicle for events to happen without much resonance. Despite having interesting ideas present to better develop its mystery, Caddo Lake falls flat due to its underdeveloped characters and a story that grows less engaging the longer it drags on. While stellar performances balance out its disappointing attributes, they're not enough to save the movie from being a dull, sometimes. M. Night Shyamalan certainly has been busy this year pushing out his signature brand of twisty thrillers. So far in 2024, we have had his daughter's directorial effort, The Watchers, which he produced, the intriguing modest hit Trap, which stars another daughter and which he directed and produced, and now Caddo Lake, which is being heavily advertised as from producer M. Night Shyamalan. Set for a streaming debut on Max starting Thursday, rather than going theatrical like the rest of his feature output, the pick unmistakably fits right into his own filmography, even if he turned over writing and directing reins to the team of Celine Held and Logan George. Actually, this one went into production exactly 3 years ago under the title The Vanishing at Caddo Lake. while Shyamalan still was working his now-wrapped Apple TV Plus series Servant, which happens to be a key credit for his filmmakers here. But now, as it is finally coming to market, that title has been shortened since the original probably gives too much away. Shyamalan is notorious for trying to keep the twists and turns in his plots top secret, and this film lives or dies on not knowing much going in. A bit of a hindrance in staying with the convoluted machinations of its dueling storylines in order to finally get the meat and bones of it all. Max, in fact, supplies no press notes, but instead a one-sheet for reviewers warning them not to reveal a host of points around several of the characters, even the period in which it is set. Reading that proves just as complicated as the script. All that said, this is indeed the baby of Held and George, who became fascinated with the actual Caddo Lake, which sits on the border between Texas and Louisiana. You can see why, since it is every bit as spooky and atmospheric as the setting in Cape Fear and provides the perfect locale for a mystery. Still, it takes a while to get to all that. The story focuses most on a couple of the characters living in the area. One of them is Paris, Dylan O'Brien, who is fixated on the tragic death of his mother due to a car crash into the lake, something he seems completely obsessed in solving for himself, trying to tie his mother's seizures into a bigger mystery. On another track, we meet Ellie, Eliza Scanlen, a spirited teen who is distraught over the disappearance of her father, is in a tense relationship with her mother Celeste, Lauren Ambrose, and is idolized by her 8-year-old stepsister Anna, Caroline Falk. Ellie just wants to get out of this place and often is seen on the lake navigating her motorboat. Trying to keep the peace in the family is her stepfather Daniel, Eric Lang. When Anna, on her own, bolts out into the lake like her older stepsister does, she goes missing, and everyone sets out on a search that eventually will uncover more than anyone. The characters in this movie, and the audience watching them, bargained for. Beware, as this is where all the twists and turns come into play. The paranormal sci-fi elements of Held's and George's screenplay, and clearly the plot progression that intrigued Shyamalan enough to throw his money and production company Blinding Edge into making it. There are some false clues along the way, even a suggestion there are very sinister forces lurking in the lake. But it is far more complicated and, well, contrived than what meets the eye. Where it all comes to life is with Scanlen's determination to get beneath the mystery, with a belief this is much more than just about a missing 8-year-old. You do have to suspend disbelief here, even when some of it doesn't appear to add up. But Held and George prove unquestionably to be a very promising and skilled filmmaking team, with sharp direction overcoming some of the less compelling aspects of their screenplay. And fortunately, they have a dedicated cast led by Scanlen, who worked with Shyamalan in the even more convoluted 2021 film Old. And here gives us a true rooting interest and anchor. O'Brien, Teen Wolf, the Maze Runner, gives it his all with an earnest performance that requires a tortured look for most of the running time. Ambrose is also quite fine here, as is young Falk and Lang, the latter with quite a tricky role to pull off. A real star player, though, is the Lowell A. Meyer, whose lush cinematography sets the scene beautifully. Distributed by release date October 10th, 2024. Running time 99 minutes. Country United States. Language English. So guys, this is the review of Cat Lake movie and some information about it. How do you like our today's video? Please let us know by commenting. And if you like this video, please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.